So today's video is about how attachment is warping your reality, and you believe that the person you lost or the person you are in a relationship with is the only partner that can ever be there for you. It's the only partner for you, and you cannot lose them because they're your soulmate, they're your twin flame. That is the only person. And that is because your attachment is warping your reality. Your emotional addiction is warping your reality. And that emotional addiction is created because you showed the brain that this partner is so important and it's bad to lose them. And you showed it with your behavior, since you already learned from my channel that the language of the brain is behavior, like we learn in the acceptance and commitment therapy. Now you learn that because of your behavior in the relationship, you put that person on a pedestal. You created a warped reality because you did behaviors that showed the brain that this is so important. The behaviors that you did is to make the person like you, to make the person love you, so you don't lose the person. Or you did behaviors to not lose the person. You did behaviors around fear, which all of those behaviors shows the brain, oh, this must be important. And now that you guys are separated, the brain's freaking out. It's freaking out. No, what? You showed me that this is so important. Okay, let me give you more thoughts of abandonment issues so you go back to that person because you taught me that this person is so important for our survival. So now you need to teach your brain that that person is not important anymore. But the problem is, you're spending time in your head every morning you wake up when the thoughts are coming in. Oh, we missed them. You have an entire daydreaming parade. You have an entire spending time on why this relationship didn't work out or how you can get them back, what you can do to get your ex back. And this is creating more of a warped reality. Plus, by you spending time on these thoughts, on these stories, the brain's like, you love these thoughts and stories. I must give you more of them. Tomorrow, right away when you wake up, you get another story. You get more thoughts. So all of this is what you're doing to fire up the attachment, the emotional addiction. And in the relationship, you chase their validation, which then the brain's like, oh, you love chasing validation? The brain doesn't judge it. The brain's your best friend. The brain thinks chasing validation is your hobby. You love it. So the brain gave you more insecurity, more jealousy, so you can do your favorite hobby of chasing validation. You also created more of an emotional addiction by playing power games, by trying to make them jealous, because all your behavior showed the brain, oh, you all doing this for this one person. This must be so important. So of course the brain's freaking out now that you guys are not together anymore, or that there are problems in the relationship. Plus, by spending all that time on those thoughts and those emotions, each fire up each other. The thoughts fire up the emotions emotions fire up the thoughts. You created a warped reality that's now saying, this is my only soulmate, there's no one better for me. But I promise you, many people found out that it was a warped reality, because if your attachment goes away, this attachment is warping your reality. This attachment that warps your reality, in a year, you look back at it and like, why was I attracted to this person? I can't believe it. I'm sure you had other people that you were together with and you were like, no, my heart is broken. How can I keep moving on without that person? And then a year later you look back and you're like, oh, why did I even bother with that person? This was not a good relationship. But then you meet another person and you're like, no, I didn't know back then with that person, but this person is so important. They're different now. Everything's different. But in reality, you again, with those glasses of a warped reality, and you're addicted. So now you're like, oh, this is the most important person. If you keep going on with this, if you don't understand that this is a warped reality, in a year, you're over that person, but then you found another person that triggers your patterns, and you're again telling me, no, now it's different. Now it's really different. It's so different now. I didn't care about the people back then. I didn't know what love is back then, but now I know what love is. And it continues and continues and continues. So today I'm going to give you the solution, which is how do we let go of that attachment, and then how in the future are we preventing to create that warped reality. And if we build emotional fitness and change the engine from the emotional addictive engine to the valued action engine, you will be not attracted anymore to toxic relationships. You will be attracted to healthy relationships. Okay, so number one, the thing that you're doing, which is spending time on the thoughts and trying to fix something, is creating more fire for the brain to be like, oh, more thoughts, more emotions. So we need to stop spending time on those thoughts and stop spending time on trying to fix those emotions, the heartbreak and other things. You might say that's crazy. It's a paradox. By you fixing the emotion, by you showing the brain with your behavior that you love fixing the emotion of heartbreak, the brain's like, oh, your favorite hobby is to fix heartbreak. Let me give you more heartbreak so you can continue your favorite hobby of fixing heartbreak. Your brain's not like, oh, let me help you get rid of heartbreak. Your brain's only looking what you're doing with your behavior. You are fixing heartbreak. You're trying to fix heartbreak. You're trying to fix a feeling. You're trying to avoid a feeling. You're trying to scroll to distract yourself from the feeling. So the brain's like, hey, let me give you more heartbreak so you can do your favorite distraction practice again. Okay, so the way to do this is with your superpower. You guys, if you watched my videos, you know what your superpower is. It is your focus. You have power over your focus. You don't have control over the thoughts coming in your head. They automatically come in your head now about how important that person is because you spend time on those thoughts in the past and the brain's just doing its job to bring up now more thoughts in the morning that you can play with, because these are the toys, like a dog, the toys that you are playing with. So the brain gives you your favorite toys. Okay, so we cannot control the thoughts that come inside of your head, but you can control with your focus if you're talking back. And instead of talking back, we want to focus on the valued actions in the present moment. This is not easy because your automatic reaction is, no, I need to fix this. I need to fix this situation, which causes more of the warped reality. So now, it's a practice. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to take up more territory. And you need to take up more territory from the beginning of the day. Because if you start your day in bed, rumination comes in. Ruminating, the brain's like, oh, that's what we do all day. You love this. And then you get more and more thoughts during the day and more off your path because the only thing that you're doing is fixing thoughts and fixing emotions. And then you stay on the emotional addictive engine instead of going on the valued action engine. Now, the reason why we want to shift our focus to the valued actions is because there's so many reasons for that. Number one, it teaches you self-love, because only by you showing your brain with your behavior that you're focusing on your values is that you're showing your brain that you value yourself. Okay? That is number one. Number two, this is what life's about. We want to spend our time on the things we want to spend our time on. But you've been spending your time on trying to fix and check on emotions and thoughts, and you create with that this whole warped reality, and you're wasting your time, by the way. Okay? Number three, we want to focus on the valued actions because we got three things we could focus on, right? Valued actions, emotions, and thoughts. You want to focus on the valued actions because if you focus on the emotions and thoughts, your brain gives you more excessive emotions and thoughts. All right, cool. Now, the important part here is that you focus on the valued actions mindfully, which means you keep your focus with the valued actions. When you're walking, you're walking. When you're talking to someone, you're talking to someone. You're not trying to check in your head what they think about you or check in your head what your ex is doing, because then you're spending time in your head and you're showing your brain again that you love the patterns, and the brain gives you more patterns. So as much as you can from the beginning of the day, you want to spend your time outside of your head on the valued actions. Okay, so some people are going to be butthurt and they're going to be like lawyers. Oh no, you're suppressing emotions. We cannot suppress emotions. No one said anything about suppressing emotions. The assumptions, isn't there the saying, assumptions make an arse of yourself and me? We don't suppress emotions. We accept them. They're allowed to be there, but we don't focus on them. They're allowed to be there. And we focus mindfully on the actions. What happens actually over time, and don't get into this process, the body processes the emotions and thoughts and balances everything out, which is with its inherent intelligence. But if you interfere with your body, with your emotions and your thoughts, you make chaos. The same way as if you would say, if you eat a strawberry and you say to your stomach, hey stomach, today I'm going to tell you where the strawberry is going. Your stomach is like, what the fuck are you talking about? You don't even know what an enzyme is. You don't know how I digest this strawberry, or my connection to the heart and the cells and the brain and where I transport the nutrients. See, your body knows better where the strawberry goes. So if we don't interfere with the workings of our stomachs, why are you trying to interfere with the workings of the brain, the emotions and thoughts? You want to build the skill to do the valued actions that support you, which is physical fitness, relaxation, creative expression, relationships, fun, business/money, with any emotions and thoughts come up. And this is important because a lot of you are avoiding doing things that you value because of emotions. So you're avoiding going to social events because of anxiety. You're avoiding doing your projects or creating things on TikTok or any platforms because of anxiety, because of thoughts of fear of judgment, because of thoughts of not being good enough. All of those things are patterns. And the more you avoid doing the things that you value, the more you show your brain that those patterns are right. So you want to show your brain that those patterns are wrong by not being reactive to these patterns and by acting on your valued actions. Yeah, brain. Okay, you're saying we're not good enough and we're doing this TikTok video now anyway. Now what you want to know is that it's going to feel wrong. Why is it going to feel wrong? Because the brain will give you any emotions and thoughts for you to avoid doing the things that you value because it thinks you're running into danger. And you might have learned that in the past when you got bullied or through unconscious parenting. And now you have these thoughts coming up that you identify with of, I'm not ready yet, I'm not good enough, or this is my soulmate, they're so important. You identify with that story because you fed that story. Even probably you and your partner, when you were out with other people, you have this precious, specific story that you put together because it feels so good. Oh, we could have only met this way, or my cousin introduced me, or we met in this coffee shop and we touched the same napkin holder, or we have the same astrology sign, or my astrology sign is here and theirs is there, and moon rising. Your confirmation bias is going to puzzle piece anything together that makes this relationship meant to be, because we got brainwashed by love stories that this is what is supposed to happen like this. But you could as well find as many reasons why you guys were not supposed to be together. So don't look for like the definitions like soulmate, all these stories you just feed, okay? And it's hurting your mental health. So especially now, if you feel sad and you don't feel like doing a lot of actions, you need to do a lot of actions, because you being reactive to these feelings is causing depression, is causing excessive anxiety, is causing all the crazy thoughts to come up. You want to make the measure of success doing a lot of valued actions, like going to the gym, going to events, doing yoga, doing boxing, doing martial arts, doing theater, doing a lot of sports, building your business, learning a new skill, and doing those things mindfully. Remember, the brain is not gonna like it, so it's trying to make it really hard for you to do this mindfully, but that's why it's a practice. And over time, your brain learns that you don't care anymore about the old pattern. But in the beginning, it's going to shoot everything at you for you to stop and go in your bed again and isolate yourself and scroll on TikTok and vent with your friends and family. Remember, also venting is a compulsion and will cause more excessive feelings and will cause you to keep thinking about that person because you're showing your brain that you still care about it. Plus, when you vent, this is what happens. Let's say an uncomfortable feeling comes up about that person. You go to your friend, you start venting. If you feel relief, the brain's like, oh, you just got happy. I'm your best friend, the brain. I always want you to be happy. How did you get happy? Oh, I gave you the feeling of loneliness or heartbreak, and you went to your friend and did this speaking thing and you felt happy. So the only thing I have to do for you to be happy is to give you more heartbreak and more loneliness, because then you can do the thing with your friend and get happy again. So it seems like venting is a relief, but in reality, in the long term, it's just hurting your mental health more and more and creating more patterns in your brain. That doesn't mean you can never, ever, 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 ever vent. Again, you don't have to be perfect, but you need to take up more territory. And taking up more territory means doing the actions that support your life, which is not only work, it can also be relaxation, go to the sauna, get massage, whatever it is, go hiking, but with any emotions and thoughts. If you don't feel like going hiking, go hiking with the feeling of not feeling like it. That is not your intuition. That's just your brain trying to keep you from doing the hiking because it wants you to spend more time on the X because you taught it that it's so important. Okay, you have to now teach the brain, you have to show the brain, you have to show the little child that we don't care anymore about that old story by being okay with the uncomfortable emotions that it shoots at you, that it screams at you, go back to the X, etc. And you are like, I can have this uncomfortable feeling, this is my practice, this is my emotional fitness, and I'm going hiking now, and I'm hanging out with my friends, not venting with them, but sharing myself in a way that I value, sharing the jokes, even if I don't feel like it, but making something proactively. This is the huge difference. We are shifting from being reactive to being proactive. If you keep reactive, if you're keeping reactive with your patterns, the brain is going to continue giving those patterns because you're spending time on it. And the brain is a very efficient and useful organ that will give you more of the things that you spent your time on with your behavior inside of your head and outside of your head. So you want to start in the beginning of the day. And what I would suggest is that you actually start your day with a meditation. Now, for you to be healthy, there's 2 meditations that I recommend. Let's start with the easy one, the guided meditation. You can do a guided meditation. I love the meditations from Abraham Hicks. The guided ones, they're 15 minutes and you breathe with a sound. If you can find a guided meditation where you breathe with a sound, with a bell, or someone like guides you along, totally fine, where you sense your body, you can do that. But the really effective meditation that will help you so much to build emotional fitness, mental focus, and break patterns, break the heartbreak patterns, but break also a lot of other patterns of insecurity, not feeling good enough, not being ready yet, is the silent meditation. I also call it the emotional fitness meditation. For many people, it's easier to think of this meditation as a training than a meditation because people have the misconception with meditations that you're supposed to have no thoughts and that you're supposed to feel relaxed. And that's why many people also give up silent meditation because they don't like to deal with the uncomfortable emotions and they're not okay with the thoughts being there while they're focusing on their breath. What I want you to do is set a timer, sit down with any emotions and thoughts and focus on your breath. You don't talk back to the brain and you don't try to fix the emotions that come up. It will be uncomfortable, but this is where you practice emotional fitness and not being reactive to patterns, which will show your brain that you don't care anymore about the old X, the patterns anymore, the attachment. And the brain will try anything. It will give you feelings of impatience. It will give you feelings of not feeling like it sitting in meditation. It will give you thoughts of you don't even know if you're meditating right. And then you can say, yeah, brain, I love meditating wrong. Because this is a pattern what the brain loves to bring up for people is, you know, if you're doing this right, are we doing this right? Right or wrong is a great pattern the brain brings up because you're being stuck in doubting, which is procrastinating and which is you not running into the fake danger. So it just loves to keep you in doubt and procrastination because then you don't do the thing that the brain deems as dangerous. So that's why the silent meditation is so great. And you want to, in the first week, 15 minutes, and then you can add it to 20, the next week, 25, the following, 30, and you will see. You don't have to do 30 minutes every day in the future, but see it as like a workout. Maybe twice a week you do 45 minutes. Maybe the other days you do 15 minutes. That's great. You will see when you do 45 minutes, a lot of times at some point the brain is like, fuck this, and just drops because you are just not willing to be reactive to these patterns. This is a practice. You're going to have an amazing life if you are willing to practice this emotional fitness by not being reactive to the emotions and thoughts and focusing on your breath, because you're going to get stronger and stronger and all the insecurities and anxieties are smaller and smaller. So you're not being so reactive to them anymore. And you can act more on the things that you want to act on, which are your valued actions, which is the things that you want to do in life. Spend your time on the things that you want to do. But a lot of times, like Mark Freeman says, there's a bathwater of emotions and thoughts in between you and doing those things. But if you're able to not be reactive to these emotions and thoughts, you're staying on your path and you're growing a beautiful garden. Also, you cannot be manipulated if you're not reactive to emotions and thoughts. The 48 Laws of Power, all these books that talk about manipulations, they can only manipulate people with thoughts and emotions and being reactive to stories. If someone makes you guilty and you being reactive to the guilt, you're a slave to your brain and that person. But if you say, I can have this guilt, but proactively just act on my valued actions, you already proactively set what are my valued actions in relationships. That's a video for later. But if you change from being reactive from emotions and thoughts to having valued actions in a relationship, in anything, you cannot be manipulated. And I have many clients who, for example, their boyfriend maybe tries to make them guilty by saying, you're not a good girlfriend. And then the feeling of guilt comes up and we practice to see, oh, I can have this feeling of guilt, but what do I actually care about in a relationship? Have I done the things that I wanted to give to my partner and to myself? And if the answer is yes, I can have this feeling of guilt and fuck off. I did the things I wanted to do. Setting boundaries, but setting real boundaries. So starting your day with a meditation, and then I would suggest to right away do something physical. If you have to work, that's totally fine. Just focus on your work, focus giving value at your work, because your work is probably giving value to people. So focus on doing the thing that you're doing well, which is mindfulness. Because if you're at work and you're spending time in your head about the ex, you're still feeding the pattern. But if you have some time, I would suggest go running, go to the gym, especially the gym, because you have to be independently create your own program. Maybe one day you do back, the next day you do chest, the next day you do legs. And when we do physical activities, it's an easier pathway to mindfulness because you feel your body moving, you feel your blood rushing through your body, you feel your sweat, you feel your muscles, your mind-muscle connection when you do workouts. This is a great entry point into mindfulness. And remember, take up more territory, spend time outside of your head. Don't talk back to the brain. And remember the tool that we talk about in the videos. No brain, we're working out right now. You can literally talk out loud to your brain. No brain, we're walking right now. No brain, we're driving right now. By you talking out loud to your brain, you literally just made your brain a third character. And by you saying we're driving right now, you literally brought your phone, oh, we're driving. You took up more territory. You cut off the story, which is what you want to do to show your brain you don't care anymore about the ex and the attachment. So this is how you loosen up your attachment, but you want to set those valued actions proactively for the next day or the whole week. Many people ask me, oh, it's been already a year or 2 years and I'm still hung up on my partner. Yes, you are, because you've been spending time inside of your head on the story, the thoughts. You've been checking the Instagram, the TikTok. You've been asking people about them. You spend time on memories. You fed the patterns. So stop doing behaviors of stalking them and spending time in your head on them, and bring your focus outside of your head on the valued actions. And don't be impatient. Like, you can't expect in a week to not think about them anymore. Also, it's not a good goal to set to, I don't want to think about that person anymore, because that's also you spending time on saying, oh, I don't want to think about that person anymore, and checking on if that's, you don't want to make that as the goal. You don't want to make that as the metric of success. You want to make the metric of success you doing more valued actions outside of your head. And over time, no matter how long it takes, that will go away, because you show your brain you don't spend time on that anymore. And your brain is a very efficient organ who says, hey, I've been giving you these thoughts about your ex for months now. I've been giving you uncomfortable emotions. I even gave you bodily sensations. I give you stomach aches, so you react. I give you uncomfortable emotions to fix. I give you, if you were a good boyfriend or girlfriend, I gave you thoughts on how to get them back. And you didn't react to them. You just focused back on your workouts and building your projects and building your podcast. I'm a very efficient organ. I'm a very efficient organ. I'm not going to give you these thoughts anymore if you don't use them anymore, or these emotions. Let's do some fun stuff. So this is how you let go of that warped reality. And you probably had partners before where after a year or 2 years, you look back and you're like, why was I even with them? And the revelation came because the reality got dropped. The warped reality that was in your face like a ghost in front of you got dropped. If you have any suggestions for videos you want me to do, put them in the comments. With that being said, I love you guys. See you soon.